Hey harmonizers, welcome to this exciting video where I'm going to do the first ride on Tom's Treasure. So Tom's Treasure is a coming 4-year-old Mustang from Antelope Valley, Nevada, and she spent the year in Virginia waiting for her title to be transferred to me. Now she's home and we're getting her started under saddle. So this is going to be her first ride ever, and if you've been following along, you know we've been doing some work with her doing the long lining, doing her first saddling. I did some mounting block work with her, and now we're going to do the first ride. So this is me getting on her back. We've been doing a little bit of mounting block stuff where I was leaning on her a little bit, and this is the first time kind of staying on her for that little bit extra time. I've got Natalie helping me, who has also been working with Tom's Treasure to do a little bit of long lining and a little bit of groundwork, just kind of helping get some extra sessions in there, because I definitely do find it challenging with the new baby and the toddler to get everything done and get as many sessions in there. So it just helps to give some more miles to what we're doing. So I do kind of all the hard first steps, and then Natalie helps keep them going. So here you can see Natalie's giving lots of cookies to Treasure. She stayed on the same side as me, which is important. So if Treasure were to have a reaction, she would want to turn her towards her, and I would jump off on the same side of Natalie. That's what would make that go a little easier and a little safer there. So that was it. So we did a first couple little steps there, and then I hop off and I do it again. And the hopping off and doing it again is important for a few reasons. One is because when you're hanging off the side of the saddle like this, it does kind of pull a little bit on the side, so it gives you a chance to kind of rejig the saddle. And more importantly, it gives the horse an opportunity to make it really clear if they're being overwhelmed and if we need to slow down or take it in different steps or something like that. So here the saddle did kind of twist a little bit, so I'm just redoing the girth a little bit, and Natalie just goes off to get the breast collar. So we just put that on just to give the saddle a little bit of extra stability. You can see Tom's Treasure was standing really nice and quietly for all of that. We come over to the mounting block again. We're going to try the other side this time, so it's so important that we train them from both sides. I want to make sure that she's equally confident with seeing me out of both of her eyes. So this is really key. Sometimes people think you can only get on a horse from the left side, and you do everything from the left, saddle from the left. And that all started as kind of like a tradition type thing. But in practicality, you really want to make sure you train both sides of the horse. It's going to help make it be a lot safer when I actually get on her back, which I'm going to do as this video kind of progresses here. So now I'm on her right side, which means she sees my head out of her left eye, and I'm rubbing her with my hand with her on her left side of her body. Just getting a few little cookies, getting pets, and we're just going to be alternating sides and practicing getting on from those both sides. Really important for her to feel my weight from both sides, feel me pulling from both sides, feel me rubbing on both sides. Now I'm just kind of standing up a little bit taller so she can see me right up and behind her as if I was going to be sitting on her back. And by staying on one side of her body just helps it to be a little safer for me, that if she does have a reaction, because we've definitely seen her in past videos with her first saddle and her first long lining, she sometimes wants to kind of jump forward and jump up and be a little bit scared. So by staying on one side of her body lets me be able to quickly and easily push myself off to the side without risking getting bucked off or something like that. Makes it a little easier for me for sure. So Natalie is just slowly increasing the number of steps that we're doing. We went from the just a couple steps that she did to now doing more like half circles and then into full circles. Lots of changing of sides, which again lets Treasure show us if she's not ready for me or not ready for what we're doing. If she was really difficult to get lined up to the mounting block, that would be her saying, you know, this is too much for me, and we'd have to go back to working on the mounting block stuff. So we have to be very aware and kind of cognizant of that stuff. Just going to take a few funny steps here and there because it feels funny having to carry my weight on her back. And she did a couple steps, going to get a little cookie, and then we'll go off and we'll do a little bit more. And what we're trying to do here is interrupt her from having a reaction where she wants to kind of take off. So when she was stepping forward and then giving that reward really quickly, it allows Natalie to kind of say, oh, look, you're getting rewarded. So no need to run off, interrupting that whole behavior thing. You got other horses, of course, doing activities in the background, which just kind of adds to the relaxation. You can see they're not doing anything strenuous. That's Glimmer just walking around the ring. If anything, that can just kind of help add to the whole atmosphere of this is normal, this is what we do, it's nice and calm and relaxing. We wouldn't want a strenuous activity to be going on in the ring as we were doing this. And of course, the people in the ring are aware that we're doing all this for the first time, and to not to get too close or anything like that, just in case Treasure does have a reaction. So here, just kind of speeding up some more of this, taking me around, doing the little circles, and then Natalie's just gone to get more cookies, as we're going to do the next one is going to be me getting on her back completely. So she's been totally good with me going just over her back, so then now I'm on her back completely. And when I get on for the first time, I'm very careful not to squeeze or grip with my legs. So I'm just sitting on my butt. She's just feeling my weight. She's also getting to see me up above her. She's getting some cookies from Natalie and learning that this is such a happy thing to have a person on your back. And then I'm just going to hop off to just kind of let her know that I can get off as well. Make sure that she's not overwhelmed. I'm going to do a little change of direction there so that way I get on from both sides and do a proper kind of full mounting, and then we'll go off and we'll start to do some walking after we do another good mount. So we're really taking our time. We don't want to risk having the horse get overwhelmed and have a rider fall off. Once you have a rider fall off, it makes things a lot more difficult if the horse learns that riders can fall off. It's much better if they think that once you get on, you only get off if you choose to get off. And then that helps them not think about tossing the rider as a potential option to get rid of stress or worry. We've had lots of horses come to us where people have tried to start them themselves, and then because they've fallen off a couple times, it just makes things so much more difficult. We have to go through things a lot slower, takes more repetitions, and sometimes you can create a pretty bad habit in that horse. So it's so important that when you're starting horses, you take your time, you go slowly, don't skip any steps, and it'd be better to spread out the progress of getting to actually steering and moving around in 3 sessions rather than trying to do it all in one, but make sure that nobody's getting bucked off, because that's just going to boost everybody's confidence and help the horse not learn any habits that we don't want them to pick up. So she's so cute here. She keeps looking back at me like, oh, you're still on my back. You can see I'm rubbing her lots. Like, she's very aware that I'm up on her. So even though we're using cookies and positive reinforcement to give her rewards, we're not trying to hide the fact that I'm on her back. And what I mean by that is sometimes people will do something where they'll try to give the horse, let's say, a bucket of cookies or a bucket of food as the person kind of gets on the horse's back, and they're trying to distract them the entire time. Here the pivot says, we are not being interesting enough, and it picked up Glimmer, so we asked her to turn around and go back and put the camera back on us. And so when you do that, you try to be sneaky, and you're giving the horse a bucket of food as you're taking them for a walk around. They're kind of zoning out a bit of their environment because they're focusing on the food. And then what can happen is when they stop eating the food, they become more present and aware of what's actually going on around them, and they can get overwhelmed or get upset. So it's better to just kind of give one cookie at a time, like what we're doing with Tom's Treasure here and what Natalie's doing. So that way she's very aware, very present of what's going on in the situation. She knows I'm on her back. She's had a chance to sniff me, look at me out of both eyes, and then she's getting rewarded along the process. So that way she knows what's going on. She knows that we're making progress with this whole riding thing, but she's also getting the good feelings of getting that positive reinforcement. So here going around, look at how she's walking really nicely. Look at her ears. They're flicking from side to side. They're very present. She kind of checks me out a whole bunch. She kind of looks at me, which is okay. So it means that she's aware of what we're doing. She's not feeling super stressed about the situation in terms of she's being able to look at me. Her head isn't getting all up. She's not getting all stiff or anything like that. She's a little taking some funny steps or kind of moving a little bit under my weight, just kind of figuring things out a little bit. She's focusing. She's looking back at me there. So she's very much thinking, what's going on here? And her ears there are very focused on me. They're kind of saying, what are you doing back there? And Natalie's just leading her around. I don't even have reins because I'm not even entertaining the idea of riding her, because I know how she reacted to her first time long lining and her first time with a saddle on. I know that her first reaction to things is to kind of blow up a little bit. And so we're really wanting to interrupt that with this session here, is I don't even give her the opportunity to do that. So I'm just having Natalie lead me little bits, offering those rewards. She's just wanting to look at me. She's allowed to look at me and trying to make sure we have a positive experience. So that's that. That's where we decided to leave her first little ride. Everything was positive, everything was happy, and she did really, really well. And this will set it up for success.